What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. Join us every Thursday for a discussion of the latest gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I'm your host today, Alex Van Aken, joined by Marcus Stewart. How you doing, Marcus?
Feeling good. Proud to be on the longest running episodic weekly podcast in Game Informer history.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Rounding us out, as always, Kyle Hilliard.
As sometimes, doing, Kyle.
As most of the time.
as often.
Hey, with a staff as small as we are, you know, we do what we do.
Yeah.
I thought you were playing that Kyle had like an alter ego. Like this week he's Kyle, but sometimes he's somebody else.
Sometimes he's more like Jackal.
I'm rapidly Googling Garth Brooks's alter ego name.
Jackal? Is that what you're saying? He's a Jackal. I was like, is that his alter ego, Jackal?
Jackal.
Oh, Jekyll, like Dr. Jekyll.
Okay. Yeah.
Doctor. I was like, I'm
from the South, all right? I mispronounce some things sometimes.
I want to see the Jackal side of Kyle.
Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll? Is that Jekyll?
Jekyll.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Jekyll sounds
like Gekyll.
Jekyll sounds like a synonym for like laughter.
Or J. I said J.
I've been Jekyling all day.
Come on, this is a family show, Alex. Can't be talking about Jekyling.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like Cats the musical because they say
Jellicle.
Jellicle, yeah.
Which we all know what Jellicle is, of course.
We all can't stop talking about it.
My favorite character from Rudrax. What is wrong with me?
Are you okay today?
Rugrats.
Okay.
I was like, is that like the bootleg version? Rick
no, I like
Rugrat.
Someone sells racks for like to display rugs at a carpet store, and it's called the Rug Racks.
Oh man, I want to start a rug store just to do that, and it will just look like the Rugrats logo.
Yeah. Rugrats.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
Funny.
Famous Jackal.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a busy few weeks for the Game Informer crew. We've got a lot of travel going on. People are out. As you know, I was out last week. And I'm sure I'll be out again soon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm out at the time that you're listening to this.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
I'll be away. Yeah,
you'll be away. But we make it work. Everybody pitches in, puts on a good show. Thank you for listening, everyone. We really appreciate it. Today on the show, we're going to talk about big topics. Going to be our mid-year Game of the Year awards. Marcus came up with this idea. I thought it was a good idea to revisit kind of our Game of the Year awards last year. And kind of using that to what do we think about the current games that we've played for the first 6 months of this year? So we'll go through those. That'll be fun. We're going to chat about Rusty's retirement a bit. And then, but first, we're going to talk about Angerfoot, which is a game I have a lot of interest in. This is the Devolver Digital published game from, I believe, Free Lives, which I believe Free Lives is one of Devolver's secret weapons. They're down there in, I think, Cape Town, South Africa, I believe, and they worked on Angerfoot, which is really good. They worked on Terra Nil. They've got a lot going on.
I did not know that. Those are very different games.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So
what else they work on?
It's pretty cool. And wait, I might be wrong on that. Hold on.
No, Terra Nil.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Gorn. Yeah, Broforce, genital jousting, of course.
Stick it to the stick, man. Yeah, I think like Free Lives. Yeah, they're doing their thing. But Marcus, you've been playing this game. I played a demo like 2 Steam Next Fests ago, or whenever they first released it, and really enjoyed it. But you've like played it properly, right?
Oh, I not only finished it, but as of right now, you can read my review up on the website. And
that's
guys,
awesome.
I love this game.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I gave it a 9 out of 10 in my
That's
review.
Awesome. That makes me so excited.
Yeah, you brought that up. I think it was at a morning meeting or something. And it's like Angerfoot has always looked cool to me and interesting, but I was surprised when you're like, no, this is getting over the 8 crest, like into the 9 zones, which is special, I think.
It is. It's a game I've had my eye on too, because it's just such a weird simple premise of the idea of it's like this first person game where you just play as this really angry sneakerhead who just kicks things. And that you just going around kicking people and you send them flying, and that's the game basically. But it is more than that. So like the general premise is that you live in this place called Crime City, and this world everyone is a criminal. Well, it's believe it or not, it's actually better than that place.
Really?
Yeah, who would have thought? But no, Michael Madsen, no. But everyone is a criminal, including yourself, or some form of deviant, and you get your prized collection of like sneakers stolen by these 4 different gangs. Like, there's a gang that's just called the Crime Gang, and then there's another gang that's like the Debauchery Gang, and one is the Business Gang, which is like I guess like white collar crime. And so you go out to try to get your shoes back. And the best way I can describe this game is that it's like a mix of like Hotline Miami with a bit of Doom.
Okay.
Where it's like a first person and you're going into these worlds, or these levels, I should say. And they're all pretty small, but they're very densely packed. And some of them are pretty almost like labyrinthine. Like they have like some of them at different levels. Some of them have like alternate routes you can go. And you're just trying to plow your way through those and kill everybody in there and reach the exit in one piece. And if you would like to, as quickly as possible. You don't have to go fast, but there are like optional rewards for completing it in under like a minute, or even in some cases it'd be like, hey, if you can finish this in 30 seconds, you'll get like a gold star. So it's like, okay, could I actually do that? And I use the Hotline Miami comparison specifically because it's like playing a first person version of that game where you can die in like 1 or 2 hits depending on, you know, what you're getting hit by. All the enemies have different weapons like guns and other weird things that they're throwing at you. And, you know, you've got your foot that you can just run up on and just kick people, and you can send them flying and it kills them in 1 hit. So it's about like just entering a room and seeing like, how quickly can I kill everyone in here before they can kill me? And just like, it's like constant movement and just like very like making split second decisions about like, okay, who's in here? Which enemy type is there? What's the order of operations to like get in and out of this room without getting shot? Like, should I take out the shield guy first, or should I take out the crossbow person up on the perch somehow so that they can't shoot me? But then also there's a gas barrel in here. Maybe I can just shoot that and kill everybody and just move on. And you can also use guns too, despite the name. Like, you don't have to just kick everything. You can pick up all the weapons that the enemies drop. And the gunplay feels really good. And that's where I kind of use the Doom comparison, because it's like, it's so fast. Like, the game's only on PC for now, and it runs so well. And it's all about just like speed and just like very quickly, like just popping off headshots, moving on, blasting them with a shotgun. And then when you run out of bullets, you can throw the guns at people and it stuns them. So that's like a strategy in itself of like shoot, throw the gun, this guy's stunned, I'm gonna kick him in the face, move on. Or you can just, sometimes I'll just throw the gun even when it has bullets, because sometimes it's like, I don't know, my brain's like, it's actually maybe quicker if I just throw the gun at you than trying to shoot.
Yeah,
because I don't want to have to worry about missing bullets. But like, I feel like more accurate throwing a gun.
Is it in with the Hotline Miami comparison, is it also a game where you're like dying and restarting a level often?
Yes,
and quickly.
You are dying very quickly, and you're restarting very quickly. Okay, it's like an instant respawn.
Good. Yeah,
because when you die, you do start the stage from the beginning, because they're not that long, which can sting when you're going through like a very difficult like gauntlet of enemies, and you feel like you've cracked the code. Like in Hotline Miami, we're like, oh, I've finally gotten past that weird like choke point or bottleneck that I kept getting killed in, and now have this like last room that I haven't quite solved. The like, how do I get past this? And then you die and you got to do it all over again. But I think the thing that kind of sealed the deal for me with this game was I never felt discouraged from trying again. Like, every time I died, no matter how much it sucked, I was always so excited to just jump back in, because on top of it playing so well, it has just like this fun chaos about it. Because for one, almost everything is destructible. Like, there's such fun destructibility. Like, you're like kicking doors. Like, every time you go through a door, you can just kick it off the hinges and send it flying into whoever's on the other side. Which there's a strategy there too, because you can kick it at an angle and send it like, I'm gonna hit the guy that I know is in the corner of this room, so I'm gonna kick the door and just kill him immediately with this. You can kick, like, you can break objects with, you can kick gas barrels into things, and like, when the game is just like at its most like just gleefully entertaining, things are just like breaking up like around you and exploding around you. Like this is like a physics showpiece because everything just ragdolls when you kick it, whether it's enemies or just like just weird things like gas can not even gas, but got like oxygen tanks that you can kick and it'll just go flying all over the room and it might kill you. You don't know. It's just like you just kind of stay away or it might take somebody out. The enemies can kill each other too, so you can set them up like that. Like just kicking
like
someone.
friendly fire or
like friendly fire.
Nice.
So like I've kicked people in the path of like incoming projectiles so they could take it for me or stuff like that. Like there's so many little things to play with and there's so much. It's one of those games where like the longer you play, like you can play this pretty mindlessly. I'm just going to go in a room and kick and shoot people. But then the more you replay a room, you start to see the depth of strategy where it's like, actually, there's more I could do here if I like study like what's around me. Like this game does a good job of encouraging you to use your surroundings around you. And even like I mentioned before with the alternate routes, like you'll go down one hallway and you'll see like just a door that maybe takes an alternate hallway that might put you behind the people that were in front of you before. So you can like flank people or surprise them. So then you can kind of just speed up your time or just increase your survivability. Yeah. But then also, what I mentioned before about like completing optional objectives, like either just finishing the stage, but finishing it either without dying or taking damage, you're earning these stars that are used to unlock these kind of like ability granting shoes. And you can equip
I love
one.
That.
Yeah. And these are like the real game changers because you can only wear one at a time. And they either have like perks like, oh, you can respawn after dying, or like you can die, you pretty much get an extra life. So if you get killed, you'll immediately come back and keep going. Or some of them are like cheat codes, or like one of them just activates basically big head mode for all the enemies. All the enemies have like giant heads, so it makes it easier to get headshots in.
That's
one
cool.
is turns off the gravity, so like everything including yourself is just floating around you, so you're just kind of like swimming through stages kicking people, and then that completely changes the dynamic of how encounters work. Maybe my favorite one is when you kick doors, they explode. So that helps so much with clearing like rooms of enemies. You would just kick the door down and then it would just explode immediately. It could kill you too if maybe the room on the other side wasn't that big, so you're just kicking an explosion into your face. So, but I like the chaos of like, I don't know if this is gonna kill me or not, but I'm gonna do it because the success rate is generally pretty high. Yeah. And so it just created a really cool incentive to like, I want to get some more stars. I want to see how many of these shoes I can unlock. So there's like I want to say I believe there's over 20, maybe like 25-ish. But they're all like fun and they all do weird little things. And like I tried them all once, and even the ones that didn't like sing with me in the moment, I would find like a use for them later on of like, oh, this shoe that negates fire damage. I'm in a world where like I'm running into flamethrower enemies for the first time. Maybe I'll just wear the shoes on. That's one less thing that can kill me. And then combined with just the stage variety, like they introduce new like stage gimmicks, whether it's like dodging a sniper rifle, like fire on a rooftop, or there's one where you're navigating like a busy subway and you're like hopping across incoming subway trains and trying not to get run over on top of just trying to kill everyone. And then also trying to manipulate the enemies to get hit by the trains, and they're like popping off the cars and stuff like that. Like there's some really cool just like variety, and they also don't really repeat ideas that often either. Like generally cool. If you see something like a big thing, they'll do it once, maybe twice. Yeah. But they tend to keep it moving. And it's just fun. It's one of those games where you're just like, I'm just like smiling. It's all like, this is just gleeful, fun, just carnage, and it plays tight, and it feels just really satisfying constantly. Like everything you do, whether you're like, you're kicking, dude, you can kick like 5 guys at once if you line them up once, and you just send them flying over a cliff, or just like get like a crossbow and impale like 10 guys, and like the physics break in ways that doesn't even feel like a bug, or if it is a bug, it feels like they were like, keep it, and it makes it fun because like enemies will just go straight like spaghetti mode sometimes. you just hit them in such a way, or and it just adds to just the overall chaotic theme of the game. But it is a well-made game. Like the level design is really nice. There are times where like some of the enemy placement's a little questionable, where it's like, I don't know if I could have gotten through that without getting hit at all, just because like some enemies will just be in blind spots that, you know, again, going back to Hotline Miami, some of the success comes from like trial and error of like, well, there was no way I would have known that guy was there to shoot me. So the first time I'm gonna get killed by them, but now I know and I can plan for it. Like there definitely is an element of that, which can be annoying, but I kind of let it mostly slide for this game because again, every time I died, it was like that split second of like, damn it, and then like, well, I get to play that cool sequence again, so I'm okay.
Is it hard? Because like Hotline Miami is a game that neither of the games I was able to ever finish. I kind of just lost traction because it just became too challenging at a certain point.
It is hard.
It is. Okay.
And I will say it gets hard quicker than you think. Like I would say within the first like world, because there's 4 worlds and each world has about 15 levels. And I'd say even by like halfway through the first world, you're gonna be like, oh man, I'm dying a lot. And maybe that's you're getting used to the flow of the game too. But there were multiple levels where I was like, I've been on this for a half hour. Like this level that you can get through in like under a minute, I've been stuck on it for a half hour.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad thing necessarily. I was just curious what to expect if I dive into this thing,
Yeah, and again, I think the challenge was always my fault. Like every time I died, I was like, okay, I know what I should do different, and then you fall into the trap of making the same mistakes again because you either forget what you said you were going to do this time, or just like stuff like that. Like it was always like I could identify like, okay, I know what I have to do here. I just have to execute. Okay, and then once you nail it, you're like, all right, I did it, and it feels like a genuine accomplishment. But yes, it is a challenging game, but it's a challenge that I enjoyed for the most part. And yeah, it's fun, man. It is a
nice.
fun game.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really want to play it.
PC only, you said, right?
Yes, at launch. Yeah. I don't know what the platform plans are beyond that.
Yeah, well, didn't Terra Nil was just PC at first, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Came later. Yeah, that's super cool. I love that you loved it so much because it's one of those ones where you're like, man, I really hope this pans out because the idea is super cool. And just hearing how they implement like shoe culture into this game that's all about kicking people, it just like makes total sense.
But is that what shoe culture's about?
No, but like, I mean, like anger foot. Let's do shoes. I don't know.
I get you. I'm just messing.
Yeah, it's just like it makes sense within that world, and it kind of elevates the mechanics as well because it's like, oh, they're sneakerheads and you can do new sneakers to get new effects. That's super cool, I think. And I really want to play it really bad.
The only thing I'm surprised that this game doesn't have is like a leaderboard system because this feels like something like a Neon White where it's like you want to compare your performance with other players of like, I got through the stage in under 30 seconds, it took no damage, could try to beat that. It because it has that speed running element. I'm surprised there isn't anything like that. I feel like that would have been a nice touch, but
yeah. And how long did you say it took to beat?
Probably it took me around 10 hours.
Oh, cool. So pretty meaty.
Yeah, and maybe I guess depends on how good you are. But I kind of flew through it too. Like I didn't replay stages very often, just and also because I was on a deadline, so I kept it moving. But yeah, about 10 hours.
Awesome. Well, I've been playing a game called Rusty's Retirement. I bet Marcus has heard of this. Have you, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm familiar with this. It's like a passive kind of farming game, right?
Yeah.
I've been not confused with Rusty Rabbit, that other.
Oh yeah. Rusty's Retirement is the one that plays on the bottom of your
that
screen.
3DS game with a Rusty character in it as well, where you could haggle. It was like a free-to-play Nintendo game, and you could actually haggle prices. It was a dog, I think. But anyway, this is not those games.
No. This is in the same little universe as Haiku, the robot. I think it was like it was a side scroller of some kind. And that if you've played that game, that character is in this little game. But I actually want to pull up the fact sheet real quick so I get the credit the developer because it's a very small game. It's Mr. Morris Games. So it's like this game dev dude. He put out Haiku the Robot on Switch and Steam, and now Rusty's Retirement is out on Steam. But it's a little passive gardening kind of farm builder. It takes up, I'd say, I mean, it's on the bottom. It's been on the bottom of my screen for days, including right now. It's probably like a fourth of my screen, the bottom of my screen, and the rest is just my normal desktop. So yeah, it's a bit weird in that way because it's playing over top of, it's almost like an AR experience in a way, right? Like you're playing this game over top of your normal desktop. But it's a passive game mostly. You start out with a plot of land, and you are slowly building plots to plant seeds. And so you start off with like wheat, then you get like beets and lettuce and carrots and onions eventually. And Rusty is the character that you start with, and he's just this little farmer guy. He is processing your food. He's helping to grow it, and you are slowly building up two resources: biofuel and currency, like money. And there is a little conversion where you can convert biofuel into money, but both of those resources are for like using robots. Like you can have like a watering bot that flies around your farm and waters things. You can have a harvest bot which harvests the fully grown plants. And then you can have like there's a lot of them, right? And so your biofuel will fuel those helpers. There's also other things that you can build on your farm that uses both of those currencies. For instance, like you can build each of the characters kind of unlocks a different section, different functionality for your farm. So the first one you get is Haiku. That's the robot from the other game. Haiku will help you water and harvest and build. So just like a general helper. The next one you can get is Sonnet's shop, and she will sell you decorations for your farm. So if you want to like spruce it up, that sort of thing, you can unlock that shop. And all of these are like your choice. They aren't, they don't have to be in order. These are just the order I did them in. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other houses you can unlock. Some of them will help you get statistics for your farm so you can better understand what's going on behind the scenes if you want to like min-max what's going on in your farm. Another one will help upgrade your robots to make them more efficient. Others will like, you can dig for fossils scattered around the farm. Very like Animal Crossing in that way, right? And similar progressions, like you are slowly building up your little plot. There's eventually, I think you can like you can expand it. But it's just a little fun game. I've really enjoyed it. The soundtrack is like it reminds me of Minecraft's soundtrack, like that ambient piano, very relaxing. And so I just keep it on in the background. It's been on this whole time we've been podcasting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
great music playing.
Honestly, like looking it up on Steam, like I didn't know the feature where it just sits at the bottom of your screen, and it's like the game is actively almost encouraging you to like, hey, do other things while this is running. Like we've designed an interface where it only takes up like a third of your screen so you can do other things. And I'm like, I don't know if any other games ever done that. Maybe it's the first time I've ever seen it, but that's such a good idea. I'm like hovering over the buy button now, and also because it's on sale for like $5.59. But I'm like, I want to. That sounds like so nice.
It's nice, yeah.
It's that sort of cookie clicker sort of school.
Yeah.
Like
there's definitely a lot more going on than just that.
Yeah.
But, you're really like you're directing things, and then you are essentially hiring the little workers to do it for you, right? And so you can step in. You can.
I was gonna say that's my question. Is like, are you making like decisions every 5 minutes? Or
like how are you actively?
How much are you engaged?
Like right now we've been talking about this game. They have harvested one of my little 4x4 plots. So right now, as we talk, I'm going to go and plant more radishes. I'm clicking my radish button right now, and I've just planted all of my radishes. Oh, my corn. I need to plant a little corn here. All right, now I'm done for another 5 minutes, probably.
Okay. Gotcha.
But like on my screen, they're like I'm watching them, go. They're watering them right now. Yeah, my biofuel's going up. Yeah.
Could you, if you play your cards right, could you get to the point where you almost never have to touch it? Like,
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far.
yeah, can
to
you
be
do like
honest.
Final Fantasy Gambit system of like, I got my Gambit so on point that I barely have to touch the controller. They got it.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely seems to be like that. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7, I would say, content menus where it's like each of these 7 tabs has a different function, and I've got 3 of them that still haven't been unlocked. And then there's like a another tab where you can, it has all your characters on there that help you, and you can adjust their behavior. So for instance, Rusty, I have his order is the default order that he comes with when the game starts. So his first priority is to move things, then his second priority is to build things, then to collect biofuel, then harvest, then water. And then for Haiku, I've got Haiku kind of the opposite. Haiku's first priority is to water things, then harvest, then move, then biofuel, then build. And I don't know if, so far I only have 2 characters that let me kind of do that. I don't know if that's like, it's not a large game, so that might be the extent of that. But like on the side, on the left and right sides of my screen as well, there's I see the button now. So if I get 6,000 coins, I can clear a bunch of space on this farm to be able to do, I guess, build more things. So but it's fun, it's cool. I'm enjoying it a lot. Like Marcus said, it's pretty cheap on Steam, $5 or so. I mean, for the soundtrack alone, I think it's nice.
I keep
to get that.
So I just added it, and I think you guys know that I keep a list of like pretty much my own on like evolving goatee list of like category stuff, like just help me remember to revisit when we get to that point in the year. And one of my columns is best mechanic, and I have added the multitask mode from this game to that because I'm so in love with that idea. There are several games that I play regularly that I'm like, man, I wish they had that. 'Cause, you know, you got to finagle that yourself, like, oh, I'll put this on my second screen or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, if Balatro had that, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Passion Duel, or something where I'm usually always watching something when I'm playing those, or that'd be pretty good. So
yeah, there's also a focus mode on there. So in the settings options, there's a focus mode which doubles the production time of all the things in the game. So if you're playing the game a little too much and you're getting distracted, you can click that button and it will take longer to do things. So you're checking in less.
That's cool.
Like that idea, like you're doing way too much. Slow down.
Yeah.
So it ain't that kind of game. Yeah.
There's you can like customize like how big the taskbar is, how big a sidebar is. You can select it so it's always on top of your applications or not if you want it covered up, like if you open certain things. Yeah, it's cool. Pretty robust little toy here that we got. So I recommend it. Check it out. Rusty's Retirement. But I guess that's all the things we've had.
It's a light
games
week,
we're gonna
man.
cover. It's a light week, yeah. I mean, I could say like I've kind of bounced around on things lately. Like just looking at my Steam. You know, I played a little more Super Vive. I talked about that a couple weeks ago. There's been betas for that I've been playing. I've really been enjoying that. But I kind of just been bouncing off of a lot of stuff I've been playing. Just mostly been playing Fortnite, sadly to say. Despite all the great games out. So having a little game that's something new like Rusty's Retirement, but is chill is nice.
I've been using this sort of like lull that we're in for the summer to try to finish the games that I started earlier in the year, which are pretty much all the gigantic RPGs that all came out at the same time. Like I've been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth and have been making good progress there, and like Stellar Blade, which I never got to finish either. So I'm trying to like use this before we get to the fall, because there's like big stuff like Dragon Age and Avowed and a few other things. That's
there's
like
a little window here, right?
Yeah, it's like let's just grab it by the neck.
Yeah, once
all the juice out of it.
My plan is once I finish Elden Ring, which I am on the final boss, I'm gonna go back to Persona 3 Reload, which I am about like 12 hours in or something. Like I'm trying to do. I want to do Yakuza, Final Fantasy, and Persona this year. That's like my goal is to do all three of those.
I'm so jealous that you've done Final Fantasy and Yakuza.
I do, yeah, 2 out of 3 so far.
Yeah, Yakuza I'm like further, or like I've put less time into than Final. I've committed to Final Fantasy first, and then going back to Like a Dragon. So
yeah,
we'll see.
So you're doing it wrong.
I'm already
not to spoil our
better
conversation about
than
our favorite games of the year so far, but
yeah, let's go ahead and get into that topic. So yeah, like I said, Marcus had a good idea to do our mid-year GOTY awards.
I was gonna say, you're right. Yeah, I mean, the idea behind this, and I feel like this is our like an abridged version of what it would sound like if we actually recorded our game of the year conversations.
Okay.
Because like I enjoy listening to those talks from like other outlets. We don't do that for our own reasons and a lot of work. But I figure like, hey, we're over mid-year technically. Let's check in. Where are we at exactly with what people are liking and seeing what everyone's game of the year list is, and then this will give like the viewers a glimpse into maybe how we determine our categories. I mean, obviously we do when we really do it. We have the full editorial staff, and it goes on for hours and hours over multiple meetings. But like this is like the sampler version of it.
Yeah. There's only 3 of us here, right? It's like nothing set in stone here, but just the opinions of us 3, right? I guess
exactly. And it'll be interesting to see if anything that we say today winds up sticking when we do get to November, December, and then we can say that we called it. The 3 of us, only the 3 of us.
We knew it. I mean, we are a vote, part of the voting body, so it won't be that crazy.
We can't influence that.
I also liked your idea, Marcus, of using like our categories that we ended up on last year, which our categories always shift and move year to year. There's a lot that will be consistent forever in theory, but we will make new categories and delete old categories depending on what the year looked like,
Yeah, and I just grabbed some, like, if you guys want to throw anything that we did last year that isn't here, feel free. But yeah, we can jump right in. Should we start with the big one? With everyone's current game of the year? Do we want to start there, or do you want to work up to that?
I actually wasn't ready for it. I don't know if I have an answer.
We can save it for last.
I'm trying to pull up my app.
Yeah.
See, this is why I keep this list, because I have a list of every game I've beaten and every game I've played in general this year.
Yeah. See, I have a list I've been curating since 2009 of every game I've ever beaten.
Same.
But I don't put years on there. It's an alphabetical list ordered by console of every game I've ever beaten.
Okay.
Yeah, which I accidentally deleted once in my Google Drive like a year ago, but I found it in like the deleted files. It was a scary moment in my life that I almost lost that file. I make backups now.
Well, what if how about we save GOTY for last, and we start with like genres, like best genre.
Let's do it. Yeah.
How's that? All right. How about this? We'll start with best action game. What do you guys think is the best action game of the year so far? Because right off the bat, I'm gonna throw in there. For me, it's either Angerfoot, and I'm gonna be hesitant there because I could consider that a shooter too.
Yeah.
If we divide those, but also I think Stellar Blade is a serious contender in there. I really like the combat in Stellar Blade.
I think it's Stellar Blade for me. Even over, this might be highly controversial, but like I think Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is certainly allowed to enter all these categories, but I like Stellar Blade's combat and action more than I like Elden Ring's. The thing that I love about Elden Ring is exploring and that world.
Sure.
And Stellar Blade's world is kind of whatever. It's interesting, but it's mostly forgettable. But like I had a lot more satisfying action moments in Stellar Blade so far this year. So I would lean Stellar Blade myself.
Are we counting early access for Hades too? Or no?
Sure. I mean, that would
be mine.
That early access is bigger than the base finished Hades 1.
For me, it'd be Hades too.
That's a good call. I didn't think about Hades.
I don't really like playing early access games, and it's funny that metric that people use, Mark, is I hear a lot of like hey, Hades 2 is an early access, but it already has more content than Hades 1. And I'm like, I don't care if it's 8 times as long. If it doesn't have a conclusion, I don't want to start the race. You know, like I just don't want to. I don't want to start running the marathon if it ends at, you know, like 2 miles before it's supposed to. You know,
I mean, it has a conclusion. It's just a big sign that says "come back later when we've made more stuff."
Oh, and you know what? I love when films have that at the end of them. You know,
It's like a cliffhanger, basically.
Like we're actually going to cut the credits early and let you know we'll come back to it.
We're working on it.
But yeah, I've only given Hades 2 like an hour, with the intention of just like giving this a shot. I'm not really committing to this, and in that like 1 hour, I was struggling to get a handle on the combat because it is a lot different from Hades 1. It rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but that's me also acknowledging I just need to learn it. Like I just need to figure out what's different about it and embrace it, you know?
I think if we leave this to a vote as we do in our real discussions, I think I might still lean Stellar Blade only because I feel like, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like we never really count early access titles in a lot of these categories generally.
We don't.
Am I misremembering? Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, we can kind of make that decision for the purpose of this podcast.
I mean, we can change that. Yeah, we do. That's true. But
you know, a game that I really like that's an action game, I would say Astro Duel 2 would be in the conversation for me.
Oh, I've heard
really
good
like
things
that
about
game.
that. Yeah.
I haven't played Stellar Blade or I haven't started Elden Ring yet. So I'm pretty limited on the action category, but it sounds like Stellar Blade is the front runner for the purposes of this conversation.
Let's lock it in. Let's
do
give them
it.
Their temporary award. I guess this is like a weird thing. Like, here's your trophy, but don't hold on for too long. Don't get too good. Don't name it.
You can hold it. You can hold
funny.
it. Yeah.
When we're doing our game of the year categories, we'll like bold certain things to come back to, or like, oh, that's a lock for sure, or it's not for sure in, but it's above others in this conversation. So it's fun.
Yeah.
All right, what's next, Marcus?
Let's do best RPG, because that is already a competitive category, and we're only halfway through the year.
Yeah.
I mean, big ones to shout out at the start. Dragon's Dogma 2, Persona 3, Yakuza, or Like a Dragon rather.
Final Fantasy.
Paper Mario.
I really need to play that. Paper Mario.
Unicorn Overlord.
I forget.
It's technically it's more strategy, but it's also role play.
Yeah. I have my answer with a bullet. I know which one stands out for me.
Oh
yeah. It's Like a Dragon. Like that has been my favorite. Not to get ahead of ourselves here, but probably my favorite game of the year so far. Favorite RPG. I like the speed of the combat in that game, and like I always was enjoying the combat. Where there's another RPG in that list that you just mentioned, Alex, where sometimes I would get kind of annoyed with the combat.
Yeah, which ones?
It's a Rebirth. The Rebirth would kind of grate on me sometimes, and get frustrating unnecessarily. But I really Like a Dragon is my personal favorite RPG so far this year. Yeah.
You know what? I think I'll hop on that train, because I've played enough Like a Dragon. Like I'm several chapters into it, and I do love like they have like perfected that system from what I've played so far. Like whatever rough edges were in that first game are pretty much gone, and they've made it better with the way you can like purposely line people up and like knock them into things or into your teammates in really fun ways. And also just beyond the combat, just like the RPG-ness of like, you know, assembling your party and kitting them out and doing all the open world side stuff is so much fun. And I haven't even unlocked the like Animal Crossing stuff. So I still haven't even seen everything the game like has to offer on like that end. And I do like Rebirth a lot and I'm enjoying it, but yeah, because again, from what I've played of it, I'm like, yeah. And again, I'm only committing to finishing Rebirth first because I'm just further along in it, so it just makes sense.
It's also the more spoilable one You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't care. Yeah, like that's probably the real motivation. Like I've not been spoiled about the ending. I just know that people seem torn on it, so I'm just trying to just get to it as quickly and thoroughly as I can. So I think I'll co-sign Like a Dragon.
Hey, do you feel strongly in any direction, Alex, or have you not played a lot of the RPGs this year?
I mean, I played a good amount of Persona 3. I really liked it. I haven't finished any of the major ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm planning to. So just for context, I have 2 goals for the end of the year. One is to beat Like a Dragon, which requires me to start it. But I want to beat that by the end of the year, and I want to beat Metaphor Refantasio. Those are my 2 RPGs on my list this year. There's a couple of other smaller ones that are like kind of RPG-ish.
Sounds like Paper Mario's on that list, maybe, right? That you'd like to get to.
I need to buy it because I didn't get a code.
We might talk about Paper Mario in another category, so it's all right.
Interesting. There's a lot of weirder games that came out this year that, like, what category does this fit in? There's a lot of games I've been enjoying, like smaller things. Obviously we'll get into like Balatro and stuff like that, and Pacific Drive, Summer House. There's been some cool things. I'm looking through my Steam played right now.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid we don't do this anyway usually, but I don't want to be like, oh, best indies. It's like, oh, that's
yeah. I've heard good things about 1000 X Resist. I want to finish.
Oh right, yeah, which that's more of like a visual novel from what I understand.
Crypt Master, like what would that fit into? There's a lot of cool games coming out. But
I mean, Crypt Master technically an RPG, like a dungeon crawler. I find that to fit into something just from what I've played of it. But yeah, I think so. Are you for the RPG specifically? Are you?
Where are y'all at with it?
Like a Dragon
and Like a Dragon camp.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down with that. I mean, I feel like I'm out of that conversation mostly just based on what I've played. I'd probably give it to Persona because nothing else is really contesting it for me. But I don't like it enough to try to go to bat.
Yeah.
Like not that I don't like it, but like I wasn't in love with it. Like I really liked the social sim stuff. I liked the setting. I didn't love the dungeons in that one. So I'm really looking forward to Metaphor. And I've said this on the show before. I want to play Persona 5 Royal for the custom built dungeons, like the handmade dungeons, right? Rather than the procedural
Yeah, the randomization
ones.
stuff isn't really singing.
It's just like it doesn't do much for me there. I think if that piece was different in Persona 3, I probably would have stuck with it and beat it because I was really enjoying everything else about it. But yeah, I think y'all have a good pick there.
We did. We're doing it, Kyle. We're making it happen.
Well, this if we're going down the list, this next one I think is more of an Alex category than me, at least. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so the next category is best shooter.
Oh,
should we just like wrap this up and give it the Helldivers and just move on?
No, we shouldn't.
No, okay.
No, we definitely shouldn't.
I was like, what other big
shooters
have come out so far?
Well, this is the cursed by the December release, the finals, which came out before right after our end of year conversations last year.
That's right. I remember we had a discussion about because we weren't sure when it was coming out yet.
It was allowed to be on our.
It was on it was in early access at that point, but
I think it was in beta.
It was allowed to be on our personal lists or whatever. But we said we would revisit it next year, this year. And let me tell you, I've been playing the finals all year. It is in such a good place. They've continually added new modes, new weapons. They've added this new one of the characters has like a spear and a grappling hook that you can hook people with, or you can like pull the for reference, the finals, if you missed it, came out in December at the Game Awards. I think it came out like right after the Game Awards. It stealth dropped. And it's like it's a very man, I haven't had to talk about the finals in a while. It's a team-based shooter where like all of the classes are split into different body types, and so you've got the small guy, that's one, the medium, and the heavy. and they all play a different role. And you are vying for these cash boxes around this map, this ever-changing map, because it's got physics-based destruction, and like, let me tell you, you can raise these levels to the ground. And the fights and the emergent moments that this game offers are so fun. Me and Leo Vader play it a lot. And I think I've put like 50 hours into it this year. I've really loved it. And I think the player base is kind of like, I think it's still pretty solid. Like, I never have issues getting matches, but they've added in like really cool new modes. Like I said, a lot of new maps and characters. They've added in like new weather effect. There's certain one of the cool things about this game is there are a lot of level modifiers. So there's this Las Vegas map where sometimes you're in like this Las Vegas strip, and sometimes it's the sandstorm version where everything's just covered in sand dunes, because it's kind of set in the future. And just like, climate change.
I remember seeing that because I've only played this game once, and it was with you, Al.
Okay, yeah.
So.
That is my number one shooter with a bullet this year. I do think like Helldivers 2 is a good multiplayer game. It is a fun shooter as well. I think a lot of the moments in that weren't necessarily because, I don't know. I don't want to disparage Helldivers. It's a good game. But for my pick, as far as a shooter goes, like, the finals is what I've continually gone back to.
Yeah.
Even amidst playing Helldivers, I go back and play more finals.
Well, Alex, I'm sorry to break
Helldivers.
this to you. I'm sorry this is how you learn, but 2 out of 3 of us have beaten a shooter this year, and since it wins by default because Marcus and I have beaten it, and of course it's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Oh, I was
sorry.
I was very confused. I was like, what shooter did we beat this year?
I was looking down the list. I was like, what shooters have I played this year? And I was like, oh my gosh, truly, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is like the only shooter I've played and beaten this year.
The game is many things, and I guess a shooter is one of them.
Yeah. No, I like the finals. I think that's a good pick.
I will like, and I say that I have not played nearly enough Helldivers. Like, I've played a couple sessions, but not nearly as much as I should or would like. But I did play that one night with you, Alex, in the finals, and was very impressed with what I played. I only stuck with it because I'm not the biggest multiplayer guy in general.
Yeah.
But for what I played of it, like everything you described, I was like, oh, this is like really cool. Like the destructibility in the game, I think, is super impressive. And
also,
so,
the way that they I wish I could boot up the game to double check. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because I've done this. They also have like some very like consumer friendly practices with their live service. So if you unlock a battle pass, am I right in that? No, I'm wrong in that. That's Halo. That lets you keep your battle pass after and continue it. But I do really like the cosmetics in the finals, and everything's priced pretty fairly. And the cool thing about their cosmetics is when you buy outfits, each of the pieces, like your head, your chest, your bottoms, your wrist, whatever, can mostly be mixed and matched with any other costume. And so you get like these cool, like, yeah, it's just fun. And they've supported the game really well. There's been a lot of content. And yeah, I know that game's gonna get buried by Helldivers 2. But I think it's my favorite. The finals is my favorite shooter. I think Helldivers will maybe be on my top 10.
I was gonna say, you think you'll maintain this to the end of the year? Like, this is still the best, like, of all the shooters still yet to come this year? You think this will?
There's a couple that I'm interested in. I think Wild Bastards. It's a single player shooter, but it's the follow up to Void Bastards.
Right.
And I played the demo of that and really liked it. But that almost strikes me as more of like a action game rather than shooter. I don't know. There's a lot of systems going on there. I don't like that it's gonna be tough.
Saying shooters can only be dumb and simple.
No, I'm saying Wild Bastards has a lot of other things going on.
Right.
Sure.
It transcends just shooter. Right. It's kind of what
yeah. I'm also keeping my eye on Call of Duty, I guess, but And I guess I don't know if you want to count it as a shooter. Buckshot Roulette. I wouldn't say it is, but it does feature a shotgun. Have y'all seen this game?
I'm looking it up.
It's very inscription coded.
Okay. Is it like it kind of looked like oh, this is like a horror game. Oh, interesting. I was thinking it was like a deer hunter kind of thing.
Oh, yes, I have seen this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, this came out.
Yeah, it's out now.
It's like for $2. It's got positive. Oh, we should check this out. Let's just buy this because it's only $2.50.
Yeah,
but I've
got overwhelming positive reviews. I'm
good with that. I like the finals as being our best shooter on this unofficial list that could change at any moment.
I think I'm gonna get like when we do the whole Game Informer staff. I have a feeling I'm gonna lose to Helldivers 2.
So you're gonna savor this victory now.
I don't know if there's like a lot of. I think Wes likes Helldivers, but I don't know if there's like a lot of devoted Helldivers fans.
Okay, because I will go to bat for the finals. I think it's
you and Wesley are gonna get into a fist fight.
If you're playing if you're playing Apex or Siege or Call of Duty and you're kind of wanting something new and you didn't play the finals, go and play the finals. It's so good. I love it.
That's a longer. That was one of the categories I thought it would be like, oh, Helldivers move on next, but no, apparently not.
Speaking of move on next, X Defiant. Okay, so best puzzle is an interesting category.
I mean, I have not played this game, but Lorelei and Laser Eyes, from hearing everything that you've said, Kyle, and everyone Lorelei. I know that I trust and generally like line up with in terms of taste. Like, I know I will love this game because I also love puzzle games, and everything I've heard is like, yeah, I love everything you're describing to me.
Well, here's my grenade I'll throw in there. Is Balatro a puzzle game?
See, I was going to bring this up for strategy game.
Or maybe Rogue?
I think Balatro.
Do we have best Rogue? I mean, we got a Hades, we got a Prince of Persia.
Balatro is a strategy game.
Yeah, strategy?
I think Balatro is closer to a strategy game, personally, if I had to assign it something.
I'm good with that because I would love to see Lorelei and the Laser Eyes take puzzle because I love Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is the rare instance of a game that I started.
Can I say something about Lorelei and the Laser Eyes?
You may. Is it going to hurt my feelings?
I'm scared to play it because I think it looks ugly.
I don't know. Tell you, man. It's got an awesome style.
I need you to tell me that. No, Alex, you're being dumb. When you see it in motion and play it, it's really cool.
You can look at trailers and see it in motion.
I mean, it's a really cool noir. It's a game that just like exudes mood. It's just got. This I'm
obviously exaggerating when I say it. It looks bad.
No, I love the way it looks. It's like it's one of the highlights for me is like exploring that creepy mansion with that noir black and white style. I really love Lorelei.
Is it third person or first person?
It's third person. It feels like you're playing Resident Evil 1 a little bit, right? Like the controls are better than that, but it's isometric cameras in a creepy mansion and you're walking around solving puzzles. You're never in danger. Well, but
I've heard someone say like it's Resident Evil without the combat.
It's Resident Evil without zombies with really cool, rewarding puzzles, and a narrative that sneaks up on you. Like it's like one of those things that at the end. Is this going to
be one that I should play by the end of the year? Like, is this?
I mean, it's
going to be a big conversation.
I plan to. I absolutely am going to play it.
I mean, it is a game that I don't flat out recommend to everybody. It's like if you don't like puzzles. You know what I mean? Like if you don't get joy out of like, oh, I found this note in this room on the second floor that like had a clue for how I need to arrange things in this room downstairs. Like I don't think it's necessarily like flat out for everybody, but I really liked it. Like all of us, we are dabblers, right? We start games and we don't finish them. Like that is a big thing that we do. And this is like a rare instance of a game that I played like an hour of and I was like, well, I'm finishing this thing. I was not assigned to review that game. I loved it so much that I played it and beat it and reviewed it. And I really, especially as I've been doing this for as long as I have, I don't do that. So, you know, I mean, I'm just like, if I'm like, I'm not really feeling this game, I peace out because I got other things to move on to. And Lorelei really just sung to me, and I really liked it a lot.
Yeah,
so.
I will co-sign your Lorelei enthusiasm because one, I can't think of any other big puzzle games.
Those Botany Manor, right? Which you liked Botany Manor, which you thought was
God, that's right. That's right. I forgot. Yeah, I did really like Botany Manor. That'll be interesting. I really like the game. I give it an 8.75. I have not.
I gave Lorelei the same
like,
score.
I haven't.
Yeah.
See, that's it. Because like we haven't played the other one's game,
Yeah.
so we can't.
Well, we should commit to that. I'll play Botany
oh,
Manor. You
oh.
play Lorelei.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna include it in platformer, but Animal Well is a pretty big puzzle game.
That is.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's.
I wouldn't put it as a
yeah.
puzzle myself, personally. I like Animal Well a lot, to be clear, and it has tons of puzzles. But I would just put it in
I
sort
would
of
say it is because it
action.
is like
Yeah.
you're not really doing combat in that game. You're just jumping to rooms and solving puzzles. It's like a
I guess
puzzle
that's true.
platformer.
It is closer to like a Fez than a Metro.
Like everything you do is some weird riddle.
Yeah. I don't know. Something feels off about calling it a puzzle game to me, but I don't think you guys are wrong at the same time. Yeah.
Because if that's in the running, then that gets my vote. Because that's probably my favorite game of the year right now. That
It's
or
in my top-
Balatro.
It's in my top 10.
2. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we could, for the sake of this conversation, we could call it platformer if you want.
Yeah, I mean it's
Make
that
it a
funky.
bit
I mean,
easier.
I do have best platformer as a thing we can discuss, but
It is
like,
that funky.
even then it almost feels weird to put it there because that is not what I come to that game for. Is like can't wait to jump around.
It's that funky thing where like I like Lorelei's puzzle system better. I like solving puzzles in Lorelei more, but I like Animal Well like holistically, like in total, everything about it, you know.
Sure.
I still think I like Lorelei more. I think Lorelei just clicked with me a little more, which is that thing of like that's not me saying I didn't like Animal Well. Animal Well was great. I liked Animal Well a lot, you know. Let's just
how about that Botany Manor though, guys?
Yeah.
Have y'all grown some flowers after solving a really cool puzzle?
Can we
grow
do
the flower?
Can we do best Metroidvania this year? You know, Prince of Persia, Animal Well can kind of be in there. I feel like there was another one too that was this year. That
There's Ultros.
Ultros. Yeah,
we had this conversation on the podcast.
Nine Souls is one.
Nine
We could do that if we wanted.
We need to have like best toy or best experimental for some of the ones that are like hard to place.
Best miscellaneous.
I think best like Shishingo, the Learn Japanese with Photography game, Summer House. There's been a couple
Alex,
of those.
we can't just give out participation trophies. At a
Okay,
certain
shut up.
point, you're just making up awards for everybody.
Well, no, what would you put a Summer House into? What would you put?
I mean, that's like a sim.
Shishingo in.
I mean, well, for the first one, Summer House, that's like a sim, basically, like a city builder. It's basically a city builder, like a very small version, but it's a city builder.
I mean, there's not like you're not managing systems or anything. You're just placing things for the joy of making them.
I mean, it's that's like I said, that's like the core. It's like the city builder at its purest form. If you take out all the complicated stuff, it's like a shooter, right? It's shooters are only good when they take all the systems out.
Yeah, my favorite shooter is damn it, what is that game called that I've played so much of? Content warning. Because you aim your camera at monsters. I've actually played a surprising amount of content warning this year because my daughter loves it. So we play a lot of content warning.
That's cool.
So we are on best platformer right now. Which are there a lot of?
There's a couple games. So there's a couple games I have not finished that are going to be in the conversation at the end of the year that wouldn't be in it right now for me probably. Number 1, Rooftops and Alleyways, the parkour game.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Although that may be more sports game. Is Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip, is that a platformer or is that more of an adventure?
I don't even know what that is.
Sounds like a game you made up.
Is Little Kitty Big City a platformer? Or is
that feels more adventure game.
An adventure game, okay.
Yeah. Animal Well, Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom.
Yeah, Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom you talked about a lot. I mean, for me, Animal Well and Prince of Persia, Lost Crown is like a
Penny's Big Breakaways in the
platformer.
conversation.
Yeah. Like as far as like jumping around, I don't know that I've had more fun than Prince of Persia.
Yeah, that's a good call. That is a 2D platformer, and the platforming feels so good in that game with especially when you get more of the abilities and stuff. So that actually I think that is my number 1 or my pick for that.
This Tiny Terry game looks
Animal
cool.
Well's got to win something, man.
It's more of a puzzle game than a platformer, and we already gave that award out.
Okay, well, we were going. It was not clear that we were we are considering for that category.
I
'Cause
mean,
was on the bat for
it is a platformer in a sense, like it is a puzzle game wrapped around a
I feel
platformer
duped.
core.
I feel duped.
Like, how many platforming? I'm just saying. But I mean, even then, Prince of Persia's platforming to me kind of stomps all over Animal Wells.
It's a better platformer, but
It's a
Animal
good
Wells focus is
platformer.
not
Those
platforming.
platforming
See, you
sequences
guys
in Prince of
screwed me.
Persia are so
I know,
good.
not on
against
purpose,
me.
not on purpose.
You conspired against me.
First of all, you should. This is how these meetings work. You should know this by now, Alex. Knives are drawn, alliances are made.
How about a category best game published by a YouTuber? Is that good?
Best donkey published game.
Best
see. What are the options here?
We need a best experimental.
That's interesting. Best experimental is an interesting idea.
But it's like music,
just
like experimental music.
Alternative.
Yeah, games that kind of defy
platformers.
genre. Alternatives, platformers.
So it's like we have best platform, we have best alternative.
I think best experimental should be a category. I think
I honestly I think puzzle is where Animal Well. I think that's where that's its lane. And again, this is only mid-year. By the end of the year, when more people have played,
listeners,
both,
I will stand on guard at the end of the year.
Well,
I won't be.
Like I said, Lorelei hasn't. They're renting the trophy.
That's right. Well, Marcus,
it's like a La La Land situation.
Marcus, you've played Animal Well, right? Did you finish it?
Yeah, I beat it.
You beat it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's in my top 10.
Because like if we wanted to like put it to a vote. But you haven't really played Lorelei, though, right?
I haven't played it yet.
I was going to say, because you could like be the tiebreaker, but it's kind of unfair to put it on you because you.
Yeah, I'm only going by your enthusiasm and everything I've seen and heard about Lorelei, and just like I think the puzzles in that game sound so cool, and it is like how it's like.
Sometimes in Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, to solve a puzzle, you have to enter an old school PS1 game and play the PS1 game. Does Animal Well do that?
No,
maybe it might. I don't know. There's a lot of secrets in that game. We haven't discovered.
Someone's yelling like, "Duh!"
All right, I won't derail us again. Best platform.
No, it's fine. It's good.
I like Prince of Persia going there.
Yeah, give the prince his due. He's been around for a while.
That is one that I like. Even as I was playing it in January, I was like, we got to make sure we don't forget about Lost Crown here later this year, because it's going to feel so long by the time December rolls around. But I really liked that game a lot.
I also have this isn't something that is in this list, but that game's also in my personal list of best mechanics, that dimensional claw thing that you can do, where you can just suck up enemies into another dimension and then spit them out wherever you want.
That is
I love that thing. I was like, that's such a cool idea. All right.
Any other categories?
Yeah, we
can invent
this one.
Too.
Best remake / remaster, because we've gotten quite a few of those already. So I guess to sort of lay out the field, there's the Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's Mario versus Donkey Kong, which is a remake.
Yeah.
There's Persona 3 Reload. There is oh gosh. Hold on.
Are you trying to avoid the elephant in the room, or are you like saving it for last, or?
Are you talking about Final Fantasy Rebirth? I mean, I guess there is that. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is it is absolutely. It's a rebirth, some might say. They're like, it's beyond a remake.
Alone in the Dark, which I didn't play.
God, everyone
would like to.
I keep forgetting that game came out.
I know.
And now the studio's not around anymore, unfortunately. Another Code recollection, 2 remakes in 1. I beat that first game
rather than a third of a remake in 1, like Final Fantasy.
Exactly. It's more remakes, so it's better than Final Fantasy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Technically.
I mean, is the answer Rebirth?
For me, it'd be Persona.
Yeah.
Are you saying, have you played Rebirth?
I have.
Okay, I'm just curious.
I played both.
Okay.
I mean, Rebirth is really impressive, but it almost feels just like an entirely different game.
Yeah. Well, you can say the same about Rebirth. Yeah.
Or I'm talking about Rebirth.
Oh, you are talking about. I thought you were talking about.
Yeah,
Persona.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
In a way that almost I don't want to get into. I'm not going to say anything else.
Oh, because
I mean, is that
you're creeping in
is
on
that
spoiler
a,
territory, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
is that a thing that we hold against remakes? Is like how faithful it is, even
I
by
don't-
design.
I-
If it's
I-
by design, not meant to be totally faithful.
It's weird because I think Persona 3 Reload brings a game that was very hard to play, and makes it, accessible, has a fantastic best soundtrack of the year, I think, which is a different category.
Yeah, we do have best music, which probably just
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of goes to Rebirth. I mean,
But yeah,
so
I do
good.
have best music here, and
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hades 2 has some really good music. But
yeah.
if we're,
That's
but yeah,
true,
Rebirth
that's true.
soundtrack is fantastic.
Rebirth is just so different from what it came from. So
Yeah.
it's hard to. It's like apples and oranges.
I
in
guess
a
it
way.
depends what
A little
you,
bit.
if you're down for what that game is doing, and I guess this would apply. Like, were you down with remake like the first game as
Yeah.
like?
But like,
this
how
is
about
the
like all
best-
the mini games? I mean, they've bloated this game. They've inflated it, right?
Oh,
They've
yeah.
done a good job remaking those mini games to the point that there might be too many of them. They had too much fun. But they did a good job with the at least remaking the existing ones.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play the original, so like, y'all will have to tell me like what is. I think there's a category y'all probably decide.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
really like Persona 3 because it brings that game that, even though Final Fantasy 7 is leaps and bounds like very impressive, I could play the OG Final Fantasy 7 easily. But again, it's like apples and oranges to what this new thing is.
This man said,
Yeah.
"I got Final Fantasy 7 at home."
Where Persona 3 was really hard to play, and it's cool to be able to
yeah.
play that now, with the content and the added content and all that.
I mean,
But
I lean Rebirth myself, but this is someone who's only played about 10 to 12 hours of Reload of Persona 3, where Persona 3 kind of feels like an older game to me at times, and that's okay. But Rebirth,
Sure.
I mean, the highs of Rebirth are high, and the lows are frustrating. I certainly had plenty of lows with Rebirth and moments of frustration, but
also, disclaimer: one of my best friends works on Rebirth, so I'm like trying
Sticking it to him.
yeah,
a little
right.
bit, yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
that would if we're taking, this isn't necessarily a vote, right? It's a matter of discussing excitement and stuff like that. But I think I would lean Rebirth personally in terms of all the remakes that I've sort of looked at and played this year. I mean, Rebirth is pretty amazing.
I have not played either version of Persona 3, so I cannot compare them, unfortunately. But I guess as a Final Fantasy 7 fan that has not finished Rebirth yet, so I don't know where I'm going to land on that ending. That seems to have split the fan base and have them fighting each other. But from what I played so far, like you mentioned, like very high highs, some frustrating lows, but like as a reimagining of that world, I am constantly just like gobsmacked of like, wow, look what they did with this thing that looked like crap before. Or it was just like, or it was old. Like you're like, oh my god, look at the gold saucer. Look what they did to it, or look what they did to Cosmo Canyon and all these places. So it's less like, which I guess like that's like the purest distillation of like a good remake is when I look at it and then run around in there. I'm like, wow, this is the game that I always imagined it was playing it the first time as a kid. But now the technology has caught up to my imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
And the gap between Persona 3's PS2 release and this one is smaller than 7 and Rebirth.
Yeah, so give Cloud and his temporary trophy.
Yeah, all this could change. Maybe in 6 months I'll be like, you know what, I finished Persona 3 on that game.
Hey, Silent Hill 2 is coming out in October. Maybe everyone's down on Silent Hill. Wait till they prove you wrong. And and technically Metal Gear Solid 3 is still slated for this year. We'll see.
Right,
it's still technically coming out this year.
Low confidence there from me, but we'll see.
All right. What about I have best hero / villain / dork. We could just condense that to favorite character.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I know I was sort of giving Suicide Squad a hard time earlier, but I do think Captain Boomerang is like a great dork.
Captain Boomerang?
Yeah, like he was like a highlight for me of an otherwise disappointing game. I was like, I hate this guy for all the right reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like he's
probably
obnoxious, but in a fun way that like ended up being like a highlight of the game for me. But I wouldn't call, he was not my favorite character, but he's my favorite dork. You know,
It sucks because if the game was finished, I would say Malinoway. I really like her a lot.
okay, from Hades too.
For favorite character.
You can give her. I mean, it's a temporary award for a game that is temporarily unfinished.
Yeah. Hey, they could release it by the end of the year.
This is the early
We don't
access game of the year.
They definitely will. They've said they aren't going to release it by the end of the year.
Yeah.
The announcer in the finals. Kidding.
Yeah, that's good. I like those kind of.
You know what? Indica, the character.
Oh,
I've heard.
Okay,
I was talking to Lee. I was at Leo's place last weekend, and he was telling me about that game, and I really want to play it.
I was gonna say, Kyle, did you ever get around to?
No, I want to play it. Yeah, I have it. I got it, and I have it downloaded and everything. I want to play it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I really like that game a lot. But her as a character, she is on my like short list of like at the end of the year, I will bring her up as like best hero, I guess, or whatever we decide to call it this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Indica, the character is pretty high up.
Yeah. And also, I mean, he's not much different from his original introduction, but Ichiban is like just like
I was just thinking that. I was like,
yeah,
he's like the free space. I mean, this category is basically
free space,
it's named after it's best character presented by Ichiban Kazuka.
Yeah.
He's
really the measuring.
You know what I like? Another Crab's Treasure has a lot of good characters in it. I really like Krill. That's the main character, I believe.
And he has like personality. Like he has dialogue and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's like it's a really funny game. Like the character, your character talks to people.
I wasn't sure if he was defined, but it sounds like he.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, I like the Joker and Balatro that like taunts you when you lose. He always makes some puns about just you sucking at the game. Even when you do well, like you can get to Anti-8 and lose, and he doesn't give you any credit.
Well, so here's what we do: Ichiban best character, Melinoe best hero, and Captain Boomerang best dork. There you go.
Sure.
Is that did we have? Was it character? No, we have hero, villain, dork is what we have. Which we can define it however we want, but like best character presented by Ichiban. It's like Electronic Gaming Monthly used to give the annual Ico award, where they're just like they just kept giving Ico an award every year.
This is the show where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
There we go. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's see. Best is this is one I expect to be a runaway, but best DLC / expansion.
I mean, is there even any competition? Honestly, for
Alex is already typing it in on the Google.
Yeah, I was typing it in.
Or is that you, Kyle?
Okay. But truly, I don't know if there's any. Is there even?
But knowing me,
there was some good. The Alan Wake DLC I finished over the break. Yes. That was very good and very fun.
Okay.
And in another, if Elden Ring hadn't happened, it probably would get it.
I do want to play it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I gave the game just shy of a 10. Shadow of the Earth Tree. It's incredible. So yeah, we can just. I would be shocked if that changes at the end of the year. Honestly. I can't immediately think of any other DLCs planned other than this second part of Alan Wake, the lake house one that I think it's supposed to be like a bigger thing, right? But yeah, I think Elden Ring's they could probably just not show up at the actual award show. Like, no, you got yours early, you're done. Just stay on.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, it's hard to.
Do we want to get into
unless Tears of the Kingdom? They're just like, psych. Do you have some DLC?
Oh my! I mean, I wouldn't say no to it.
No, of course, I don't think that's happening.
We could jump to our goatees. The other only categories I have left are the console exclusive or platform exclusive. So like best Sony exclusive, best Microsoft. Which I mean, we could probably fly through those.
Yeah,
I would say like best Sony exclusive. I mean, it probably comes down to Final Fantasy or Stellar Blade or Helldivers.
Helldivers, yeah.
I would go Helldivers, but that's because of personal preference.
Yeah, I think
isn't
the
that
whole award? That's the whole award
system. I think maybe surprisingly among those three, I really like Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade is kind of where I'm leaning to as much as I like.
But I would be surprised if it wasn't Helldivers by the end of the year. I don't know.
It feels like Helldivers, like there's nothing objective about these awards, but that's the closest to like almost an objective answer because of just the impact it's had. Of like it almost feel like weird. It would just come down to like, oh, maybe we're not all like the diehard fans, but there's no denying that game's success. So
I
did we
don't
go
know.
the like? But then also like these are our awards. We don't have nobody. The other editors aren't
You don't
here,
tell me
guys.
what to
This is
do.
just what we like, right?
Yeah.
So this might be the only time we could give it the Stellar Blade before everybody else shows up and says, "You idiots! It's Helldivers."
Could be. Yeah, I don't know. What, Alex? Are we steamrolling you? Do you feel strongly?
I don't feel steamrolled. The only one I cared about making sure my voice is heard on was best shooter.
There you go.
Which I
Stellar
wrote down.
Blade.
We gave it a Suicide Squad by accident. Sorry, my bad.
You sly dog.
There we go.
A real
Shout out.
Captain Boomerang move right there.
Oi, mate. And there he is. He's here.
All right, now here's the best Microsoft exclusive is going to be just a matter of figuring out if that exists.
At least
Is
yet.
there
Has
one?
anything?
Truly.
That's
Hellblade.
Has there? What,
Oh, Hellblade,
even if it's not
okay.
first part. Oh yeah, actually it might be. Yeah,
I
Hellblade,
think you did it. I think
I'm
you
by
solved the
default.
puzzle. Best puzzle game of the year was figuring out the best Microsoft.
I'm
exclusive.
gonna go to bat probably for World of Warcraft at the end of the year or Call of Duty. Probably knowing my
Wait,
tastes. One
for
of
what?
those.
For best.
Microsoft exclusive.
Oh, but those aren't Microsoft exclusives, right? That's that's a technicality, right? Call of Duty is going to be on every platform.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's on everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've said that's on everything. That was one of the reasons why they bought that deal went through. Was like,
Okay,
no, we're not gonna
World
make
of
it
Warcraft
exclusive.
is only available on the launcher that is owned by Microsoft now.
I mean, there are
Is
other
that just
bigger
best PC
exclusives.
though?
Yeah, I would think of that as PC.
Yeah.
Can you play?
I mean, they have other stuff. Like they
can you
have
play
a
WoW
they have,
on a console?
Well, no,
No,
I
no,
think
no,
I'm
no.
getting into the weeds. I think we need to rename these categories to
Right.
best Xbox exclusive, best.
Well, that's what we used.
Nintendo Switch
That's what we used to
exclusive.
call it, but we changed it because it's like there's console and PC exclusives now, right? Like,
yeah.
so it's like there's the games. Yeah, it's funky. It's weird
Because Microsoft,
There's not a clean way to. Do
I mean,
it, really.
Microsoft implies Xbox.
I'm being a little turd. I know.
Oh, you're being a little Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
There you go. Booming it
but
up.
yeah, is it Hellblade by default? No, I like.
I mean,
Hellblade.
right
It's a
now,
good
I think
game.
it is.
Yeah.
All right, congratulations,
Unless-
Hellblade.
Unless there's like a game that you go like, oh, I guess that technically is only on Xbox right now. I just didn't think about that.
I haven't turned my Xbox on once this year.
Is the
For a record or
Huh?
are
No.
you gonna break the streak or best Nintendo exclusive?
Yeah, I
Ooh.
was thinking Paper Mario actually. I was trying to think of because like Princess Peach was meh.
Yeah.
Mario vs. Donkey Kong was generally liked. There's stuff coming out later that I'm very excited for.
I can't wait for that Zelda game.
Yeah, Zelda and
Yeah,
and,
there's
something else even, but
Mario and Luigi. I'm not Luigi.
Yeah, Mario and Luigi.
Mario versus Donkey Kong. I mean, for
Yeah.
stuff that is
I mean, I feel like it
out.
comes right now at the halfway point. I think it's Mario versus
Thousand Year
Donkey
Door.
Kong and Thousand Year Door, which I lean very much Thousand Year Door in that situation.
Sure, I can. Sure.
An
I mean,
enthusiastic sure.
some of these are just sort of like victim of circumstance. To a degree,
Yeah,
which you're
yeah.
like, I guess so. And again, it's temporary. It's a little, these are by default almost paper awards, so it only makes sense
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Paper Mario gets his little cardboard cutout.
I guess you could
trophy.
also throw Luigi's Mansion 2 in that discussion, which is again it's a fine game.
I don't think that's gonna beat it.
Yeah, no. Congratulations to Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, not to be confused with the GameCube game from a decade ago.
What was that one called?
It was the same title.
Oh yeah, I was trying to get you to say the title again.
When did let's see.
Is there a best PC exclusive? There has to be, right?
Surely. Yeah.
We kind of this
yeah.
is the Alex category when we have these discussions. We're like, Alex, what do you think?
Best PC exclusive.
Actually, right now, Angerfoot only on PC, and I love that game.
Yeah.
So,
Balatro.
no, that's on everything.
Yeah, I play it on Switch, primarily.
It's on PlayStation.
Oh yeah, I'm
1
dumb.
and
I'm
2.
dumb.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
don't say
It
that
was a
about
PC
my
exclusive
friend.
at launch. But
Power
it came,
World, that's early access, and I still
And
want
That's
on
on
to
Xbox.
console as well.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, yeah.
What about I haven't played the full game, but Children of the Sun?
I didn't really like that game.
No?
Yeah.
I played it for roughly 2 hours. It didn't click with me,
Sure. Okay.
unfortunately.
Oh, Mini Shoot Adventures. Is
That's on
that only on?
Switch, right?
Is
I
it?
don't think it is. I think it's just
No?
PC.
I think it's just
yeah.
PC.
'Cause
I think that's one of the things I like tilted my head at. I was like, really? Only on PC, this game?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, because I haven't played it yet. Because it sounds like I would love it, but I haven't. Because I just haven't broken out the Steam Deck. Is probably where I
Yeah,
would play
that's
it.
one too where I'm going off reputation because I've not gotten around to it, but I want to
Same
play it.
here.
But everyone has gone like nuts for this game. So I almost was like, well, I guess everyone else likes it, so I guess it's good.
I think based on what we've played, it sounds like it's Angerfoot.
And
For
by what we've played,
for
I
people
guess
who have played it on this call, right? Because like
Marcus,
none
you
of us
played
really
it.
have
I played the
Mini
demo
Shoot.
and loved it.
I loved it. Yeah,
I
So-
loved the demo. So I think based on that,
I think it's
So this is-
Angerfoot for the temporary win.
out of Rusty's retirement,
Yeah, or
and I'm the
Hades-
only one. I think Angerfoot
Hades
wins
early
for-
access.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there are a lot of
I mean, there were several big early access.
PC exclusive.
You could have done a
games
category
out.
for best early access games. So there's quite a few of those. So, but yeah, let's give it the Angerfoot. Let's get angry at how excited we are to give it this award. That we're angry.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
It's like the Arsenio Hall bit from Chappelle's Show where he went to the party and he enjoyed the free cheese so much that it made him angry, and he just started slapping people because they didn't tell him how good the cheese was.
Actually, I don't
just
remember that one.
like it. All right, let's get to the big one, guys. The moment everybody has been waiting for at least the first 6 months of the year. Game of the year, parentheses, so far.
So far,
Brackets for these 3 Game Informer editors.
Also next
2024,
to it, yeah.
And then it's
6
like,
months in.
yeah. I don't know if we want to just throw out like I don't know if we each have a single pick. But
Yeah, I think we should do that.
I think for me at the 6-month point of the year, mine is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. I think.
Yeah, actually, it's 7 months, Kyle. It's
7 months,
July.
excuse me. That's where I'm at. But I would love to hear if you guys, because I'm guessing we're all gonna have 3 different picks.
Mine has been the goatee with a bullet, and only one game has challenged this, and it's going to come down to semantics. But it's Balatro.
Mm.
That has been my game of the year since I played it. The only game that has even attempted or has broached its position is Elden Ring. But again, the semantics thing of like, and we'll figure this out, I guess, when we get there, of like the years when we can an expansion win game of the year, or a DLC can it win game of the year. Is it even worth arguing? Is that going to get its own thing? And we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But other than that, those are 1 and 2 for sure.
Yeah.
So far. So Balatro.
Yeah, I think my top 3 right now, and this will change, I'm sure. But number 3, my top 3 are the Finals, Animal Well, and Balatro. And I think Balatro wins for me. I think it's my current game of the year.
Wow. Okay. I
Got about 35 hours clocked in it. Not as much as some people, but I really, really have enjoyed that.
I think I've got about 90 between Steam and Switch because I have 2 versions of it.
Yeah, I've beaten it several times. Like I've beat mini runs. I'm like on like the 6th or 7th difficulty on one of my decks. The 5th, I think.
I still play it regularly. Like it's still my like, I just want to play something, but I don't know what yet. I'll play around a Balatro and then get sucked right back into it. You're like, oh yeah, this game's awesome.
So Balatro is my end of night play while watching TV kind of game. And recently I've replaced that time. I've been doing like making art in Blender for like my game. And so if I wasn't doing that, I would be playing Balatro. That game is awesome.
I honestly like I like Balatro as our million asterisks game of the year so far option. I think I really like Balatro a lot, and it's like I don't like card games. I don't like poker. I don't play poker. But like that, I got into Balatro, and it's like, and it's a testament to its design and its sort of style, and like I beat what do you guys call it? Like a run? Like I got through a run after playing it, like after it kept me up late for like a week or two, and once I hit that point, I felt comfortable sort of backing away, and I was like, all right, I completed that goal, so I haven't returned to it very much, but like I really had a great time with it, and I love when a game, like I think Marcus, in your review or when we were discussing it early on, it's like it reminds me a little bit of Vampire Survivors, of just this like left field, like, whoa, this is fantastic, where did this come from? You know?
And not only that, but also the power escalation that Vampire Survivors has. Like, you start out with like, you're not really doing much, but then when you get enough jokers and you've got, you've strategically picked your jokers to where you're popping off effects left and right, and you're like scoring just an obscenely high score, playing like a pair of twos. You're just like, my master plan has come together. This is going as well as
I know. It's nice
like,
when you focus in on one ability, right? Like just playing pairs, and you're like, I'm leveling the crap out of pairs. And so like, even if you could do like a full house, you're like, I'm doing pairs because it's going to be more points, you know?
Yeah, you're like, this isn't even my full power. I got this whole hand.
I know. It's
fun
that it gives you control over that.
I should add the score meter catching fire to my best mechanics list, because it really does. When I see that thing just like light on fire, it makes me so happy. And it's got that NBA Jam kind of quality to it in that sense. So Balatro.
I mean, you guys feel good about that, right? Like for our 10th podcast choice. Yeah.
Our interim game of the year. Like, boxing, there's like interim champions sometimes.
Of course.
This
is related things to boxing.
Yeah, we love boxing on this podcast.
Boxing and poker, my two favorite things.
The Paul brothers,
can't get enough.
my favorite boxers.
Love it.
One of them's an annoyingly good wrestler.
I mean, I do think boxing's cool. I don't watch it. There's a lot of sports like that I think are cool that I don't watch. Hockey,
cool. I love Rocky.
I should watch hockey. I should watch hockey. I should watch boxing. I wish I watched basketball more.
I mean, do you need to?
No.
So I should. Like, do you want?
I like them, you know.
Yeah.
But, the Mighty Ducks will do it for me for hockey.
Fair.
We should.
I was gonna say, like, what were we gonna say, Kyle?
This was more just sort of like, I'm not saying we should discuss who should win, but I do wonder if at the end of this year, if we do have like an early access category or something, you know,
I
just
think
to
we
give
should.
Flowers to like.
There's
Hades,
a lot of cool games,
and there might Hyperlight might be out later this year too, and the Prince
Manor
of Persia
Lords
Rogue.
is out there.
There's Manor Lords. Like there's a lot of cool early access titles, and rogue titles. Like we could even just blend it down even more, you know, and just focus it on early access rogue titles if we wanted to, you know. But yeah,
I'm gonna vie for best experimental. There's another game
I think
I
that's a good idea.
Out.
I think that's an interesting idea.
I've been playing.
Gotta define the parameters of what constitutes experimental.
Yeah,
I think it just doesn't. One of those games that doesn't fit well into the other categories.
Best misfit, basically.
I don't know. That sounds like
the Island of Lost Toys sort of thing.
Yeah, we can figure that out. I like defy genre, like best genre defier or something. There's something there, you know.
You think we could get away with calling it best miscellaneous, and we just put the abbreviate like MISC period? Like,
maybe
we're in charge, man. We can do whatever we want. You know, it's all we could explain it in the text. You know, we got a couple sentences to explain ourselves.
And for those that are familiar with like our game of the year, like if you've come to Game Informer this year and you haven't seen our game of the year stuff, these are not all the categories that we normally have.
No.
We have other stuff like that I just excluded just for the sake of time, but we have like best developer, best publisher, best like music, best and like we make up categories based on the year of like, oh, there was a lot of this kind of thing this year, let's do a category for it, like we're discussing now with early access stuff.
We also normally have like 5 of these conversations before we nail things down.
Yeah, people
before
go
they
off
get
and
back.
play games they haven't had a chance to play, and yeah,
We
that kind of thing.
probably, I would say, like collectively, we probably spend like 10 hours at least, like discussing.
Oh, if this was the real thing, we'd still be on best like RPG.
Yeah. I mean, it starts like 2 months out, really.
Yeah.
I would say, and like we take breaks, we go play other games that are like in the running. It's a big process, but this is like a very condensed,
This is a good exercise. It reminds me of things that I need to sort of like prioritize.
Yeah, it reminds me I need to not let you all pull the wool over my eyes when it comes to best puzzle game at the end of the year. So
I think you have
Animal
the rest of the
Well.
year to figure out that Animal Well is 100% a puzzle game. And there's no getting around it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to play Lorelei and see.
I do.
One, if you hate the art direction or whatever your hang up is with it. But,
Yeah, I mean,
It looks a little funky.
Taste is like subjective entirely, but I am surprised to hear that that's the thing that's kind of turned you away, because like that I thought was like one of the more enticing things about it. But like I said,
It might
it's all
just be like the
subjective.
screenshots might not be doing it for me, but in motion,
Yeah.
I might like it. Yeah.
Alex is like more like Lorelei, and to close my eyes, can't look at this thing.
Well, no, I mean, I don't. I also don't. I don't want to disrespect the artists. Like they're better than me at what they do.
Yeah, try it out. I'm gonna try out Botany Manor.
Their first game, Sign Our Wild Hearts. I thought the art direction was phenomenal in that. I loved the way it looked. So
if you sap some of the color from that, like that's kind of where you're at.
That's the vibe. Okay.
Yeah, because you're kind of like Laurel. This is a weird. You play as Lorelei, I think, right? Yeah. The woman that you are playing as in the game, like she fits that kind of style of Sayonara Wild Hearts kind of. But anyway, check it out.
This does remind me of another category that we didn't discuss. It was like best art / graphics. That is always an interesting conversation, because it's that weird divide of like technical fidelity versus like art direction.
Yeah. I do want to give a big update on Rusty's retirement. I have now built I built Echo's workshop during the time of this podcast. Echo will help upgrade robots to make them more efficient. So I built his workshop. It looks really cool, but Echo himself is like a giant worm that's kind of disgusting. I don't know if I like it.
So was it challenging to make the workshop? Would that constitute a puzzle, would you say?
No.
Is this a puzzle game?
Strategy, maybe? I don't know. Cozy? But I don't like the worm, so I might not recommend this game, because I just got this new character.
Just like,
and I hate him.
Oh no, sorry,
worm. Why? Because he's a worm?
He's weird looking, man.
Have you watched Dune? Maybe you shouldn't watch Dune, Alex.
I love Dune.
Oh, there.
But
I like it because they keep the worms in the sand, where they belong.
Wow. Just lines in this, I guess, in the sand.
Yeah.
I like to think of Lowly Worm from Busy World, Richard Scarry.
Oh, sure.
For other old people like me.
I love that worm. That's a great worm. First worm I ever loved.
I thought I would be on the island. Nobody remembers Lowly Worm.
I remember him.
No, yeah. This is an abomination kind of worm in Rusty's retirement.
Yeah, best
bookworm.
Who's the best worm? Is it Earthworm Jim?
The best worm is the one, Richard Scarry worm.
Just across all media.
Jim?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but the best worm in media, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Trimmer worms.
Those aren't worms.
I think Dune at this point, cultural relevancy. The Dune worms have a popcorn bucket made after them. Well, who else can say that? They are backed by AMC.
Is that hard to do?
To be a worm and have a popcorn bucket made?
I mean, I guess the popcorn bucket part, I guess specifically, but I was like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Didn't they just give those out to anyone pretty much?
Yeah, but I'm saying, what other worms have been so iconic that they get a popcorn bucket?
That they inspired that.
I don't see no Richard Scarry worm popcorn bucket.
Well,
that's because he's chilling in the apple.
CG animated Busy World film starring Chris Pratt as Lowly Worm.
That's any day now, right? Any day now.
All right. Well, any day now, this podcast will end. Let me tell you.
Should we run down real quick our winners? Temporary winners for
just list them. Yeah, then we'll do the outro.
Okay, so Game Informer's mid-year Game of the Award winners, which can
according
change.
to 3 staff editors.
Yes, and also are temporary / interim / they don't mean very much.
Yeah, nothing counts. Don't take it at face value.
Yes, our Game of the Year so far is Balatro, the best Sony exclusive, Stellar Blade. Best Microsoft exclusive, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Best Nintendo exclusive, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, remaster, I guess, in parentheses.
Yeah.
Best PC exclusive, Angerfoot. Best DLC / expansion, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Best remake / remaster of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Best hero, best hero.
Yeah, we
Ichiban
had it was like
Kasuga.
character hero. We kind of let this one slide, kind of.
Best hero Ichiban Kasuga. Best, but also maybe Malinoe, because she's not a villain. But then best dork is, I think, unanimously Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, great dork.
Best action, Stellar Blade. Best RPG, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Best shooter, The Finals. Best puzzle, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
No controversy there.
Absolutely not. Best platformer, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. And that is it. So if you want to see...
Goaty for now. Balatra, did you already say that?
Yeah, he started with that one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a sandwich, like bookend it, then yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah,
Like
we'll
wedged
see
in the middle
what
of a deck of
sticks.
cards.
Exactly. So I guess we'll see what sticks at the end of the year, guys. We should not tell any of the other editors about this and assume they don't listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we can
I think
come
a
in.
couple of them do, but be cool, guys.
Be cool.
Cool.
Yeah, just be cool.
Yeah, we'll come in with these picks and be like, we already figured it out, guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening or watching this episode of the Game Informer Show. If you enjoyed it and you want to support us, please consider grabbing a magazine subscription. You can get a print magazine subscription by going to subscribe.gameinformer.com. $19.91 for 10 issues, $34.99 for 20 issues, and we put out 10 issues a year. So that's a great way to help us keep going, keep the lights on, keep funding all of the coverage that we provide for free. Like this podcast. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/GameInformer. Replays on Fridays, though not this Friday because Marcus is out of town. But I think Kyle's going to be doing something.
Yeah. Not sure.
YouTube.com/GameInformer. We've got a lot of cool videos going up there. Last week we had a Hades 2 interview with Gen Z that has been getting pretty good traction.
Yeah.
So go check that out. We've got some Dragon Age interviews coming up, as well as, always putting up NGTs whenever there's something to show off. So do all that. Follow the crew here. Follow Kyle at Kyle M. Hilliard. Follow Marcus at Marcus Stewart 7. Follow me at It's Van Aken. Shout out to Matt Storm, aka DJ Stormageddon, our podcast editor. Go listen to their podcasts, Fun and Games, Reignite Podcast, which is a BioWare focused podcast. And that's going to do it. Thanks all. Appreciate you. Have a good week. Bye.